Welcome to RankLens. Today we count down the top 10 countries with the most Michelin-starred restaurants. Forget everything you think you know about which country owns the world's finest dining scene. We're diving into the data on Michelin-starred restaurants, the ultimate benchmark of culinary excellence, and the results might reshape your travel bucket list forever. From hidden gems in unexpected corners of Europe to a single nation that's dominated this game for over a century, we're counting down the 10 countries with the most Michelin-starred restaurants. This isn't just about fancy food. It's about culture, tradition, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of perfection on a plate. So buckle up. We're starting at number 10 and climbing all the way to the crown jewel. Coming up, an entry that might surprise you. At number 10, the Netherlands, with alle 17 Michelin stars. Here's the thing. Dutch chefs didn't start with a culinary tradition stretching back centuries. What they did have was guts. Over recent decades, the Netherlands transformed from having almost no Michelin recognition to becoming a European dining powerhouse. That's not luck, that's ambition. Dutch chefs pioneered a philosophy you'll see everywhere now: modernist, product-driven cooking that lets each ingredient shine. And what ingredients they work with. Surrounded by the North Sea, Amsterdam's chefs built their reputation on impeccably fresh seafood, pristine seasonal produce, and radical simplicity. The city's famous canal-side restaurant district didn't just attract locals. It pulled in millions of international visitors each year, turning Amsterdam's waterways into a pilgrimage site for food lovers worldwide. From zero to hero in a single generation. At number 9, Belgium with 34 Michelin stars. Imagine being culinary royalty, but hardly anyone notices. That's Belgium. Packed into one of Europe's tiniest nations is a restaurant scene so dense, measured by Michelin stars per square mile, that Belgium punches harder than countries 10 times its size. How did this happen? Geography. Belgium shares a long, storied border with France. For centuries, that proximity meant something profound. French culinary techniques, the classical foundations that built Europe's dining culture, seeped across the border and rooted themselves in Belgian kitchens. Belgian chefs didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They inherited the blueprint, then made it their own. Fast forward to today, and Brussels sits at the heart of it all. As the de facto capital of the European Union, the city hosts a perpetually high-spending diplomatic clientele who demand and reward culinary excellence. The result? A nation that proves size doesn't matter. Excellence does. At number 8, Switzerland, with 142 Michelin stars. Now here's where we talk about efficiency. With fewer than 9 million residents, Switzerland has done something remarkable. It's packed more Michelin stars per capita than almost any nation on Earth. Do the math. A country smaller than Maryland is competing with superpowers. Why? Wealth. Switzerland's legendary prosperity, built on banking, precision manufacturing, and centuries of stability, creates a clientele of extraordinary purchasing power. When your country's middle class can afford Michelin-starred meals regularly, your restaurants thrive. But there's something deeper. Switzerland officially speaks 4 languages, and those 4 languages map onto 4 distinct culinary regions. German-speaking Switzerland draws from Alpine traditions. The French region channels classical Gallic technique. The Italian corner borrows from Mediterranean sensibilities. Each quadrant developed its own identity, creating a nation that's less one country and more a confederation of culinary worlds, all punching their weight. That's the Swiss advantage. At number 7, the United Kingdom with 191 Michelin stars. For decades, maybe centuries, British food was a punchline: bland, overcooked, uninspired. Then something changed. In the 1990s, Britain flipped a switch. A culinary renaissance swept the nation, and suddenly, British chefs weren't apologizing for their food, they were revolutionizing it. Chefs like Gordon Ramsay brought intensity and technique. Heston Blumenthal pushed science and imagination into spheres no one thought possible. They didn't just open restaurants, they changed minds. And they didn't do it alone. London's greatest secret weapon? Its people. The city's relentlessly multicultural population, immigrants and descendants from every corner of the globe, created a dining scene of staggering diversity. Indian, Chinese, Middle Eastern, African, Southeast Asian, all thriving, all elevated, all Michelin recognized. The UK proved that great food isn't about ancient tradition, it's about hunger, ambition, and the courage to reimagine. At number 6, the United States with 278 Michelin stars. Now, before you think the US is dominating, hold on. There's a catch. Michelin doesn't evaluate the entire country. They're selective. They survey only a handful of cities: New York, San Francisco, Chicago, LA, Washington, D.C., a few others. But within those cities, America is ferocious. And here's why that matters. The US only gets Michelin recognition in its absolute top-tier cities, yet it still lands in the top 5 globally. Imagine if Michelin covered every American metropolis. New York City alone contributes the lion's share. Hundreds of stars concentrated in one impossible city. But what makes American fine dining unique isn't NYC, it's the diversity. America's strength has always been immigration. Every wave of arrivals brought recipes, techniques, and ambitions. Chinese, Italian, French, Korean, Vietnamese, Mexican, all competing, all innovating, all climbing the Michelin ranks. America didn't invent fine dining, it democratized it. At number 5, Spain with 304 Michelin stars. Spain's secret is in the north. In a corner of the Basque Country near the French border sits a concentration of Michelin stars so dense it has no equal anywhere else on Earth: San Sebastian. A city of barely 200,000 people boasts more Michelin-starred restaurants per capita than anywhere else in the world. How did that happen? Culture, tradition, and a revolutionary idea. Basque chefs saw French precision and said, "We can do that, but better, with our own voice." Spain's own culinary voice came from someone named Ferran Adrià. At a restaurant called El Bulli, Adrià didn't just cook, he invented molecular gastronomy, deconstruction, foam, edible flours, liquid nitrogen as an ingredient. He reshaped modern cooking globally. But Spain's power isn't just innovation, it's ingredients. A varied climate gifted the nation Iberico ham, the world's most prized pork, La Mancha saffron, whose crimson threads cost more than gold by weight. Spain proved that tradition plus innovation equals dominance. At number 4, Germany with 333 Michelin stars. Germany is Europe's largest economy, and that matters more than you'd think. Wealth funds ambition. Germany's prosperity sustains a restaurant scene that doesn't just compete, it innovates, experiments, and refuses to compromise. The financial capital isn't pulling all the weight, though. In the southwest, in the state of Baden-Württemberg, sits one of Europe's most Michelin-star-dense regions per capita. Michelin inspectors find excellence clustered there like nowhere else in the continent. Why? A combination of prosperity, proximity to France, and something uniquely German: precision. German fine dining doesn't chase trends, it masters them. You'll find French classical technique, the rigor, the discipline, melded with Germany's incredible local pantry. Wild game, asparagus, Rieslings of incomparable finesse. German chefs respect tradition but bend it toward ambition. They prove that you don't need a centuries-old culinary identity to dominate. You need precision, investment, and refusal to settle. At number 3, Japan with 350 Michelin stars. Tokyo isn't just a city, it's the undisputed Michelin capital of the world. More stars concentrated in one city than anywhere else on the planet. Ever. What drives that obsession? philosophy. Japan's culinary foundation is called washoku, traditional Japanese cuisine, and it's built on principles that sound simple but demand a lifetime to master. Seasonal, local, minimal, respectful. In 2013, UNESCO recognized washoku as intangible cultural heritage. Translation: they understood that Japanese cooking isn't about feeding people, it's about honoring the universe through food. That's where the shokunin philosophy enters. Shokunin means artisan, craftsman. A shokunin doesn't just learn a skill. They spend decades, sometimes a lifetime, perfecting a single dish or technique. A chef might spend 20 years mastering one type of sushi. Another might devote her entire career to perfecting the art of preparing tempura. That obsession, that refusal to accept anything less than perfection, that's what creates 350 Michelin stars. At number 2, Italy, with 394 Michelin stars. Italy isn't one culinary tradition, it's 20 distinct regions, each with its own history, its own ingredients, its own way of doing things. Walk from one region to the next, and the food changes entirely. Milan doesn't cook like Rome. Venice doesn't cook like Naples. Sicily doesn't cook like Piedmont. That regional pride, that refusal to homogenize, that's what fuels Italy's 394 stars. Instead of trying to dominate globally, Italian chefs perfected their hyperlocal corners. But there's more. In 1989, a movement was born in Italy called slow food. While the world rushed toward fast food, slow food said, stop, savor, value tradition. Celebrate the farmers and artisans who make food sacred. The movement spread worldwide, but it was born here, in Italy. And then there's Piedmont. Specifically, the Alba region, which produces white truffles, among the world's rarest and most expensive ingredients. A single truffle can cost thousands. That's not just flavor, that's legend. At number 1, France with 676 Michelin stars. Not even close. France's lead is so commanding that it surpasses the next 3 countries combined. How did this happen? History, authority, and timing. The Michelin Guide was invented in 1900. In France, it wasn't created to rate restaurants. It was a marketing tool. Michelin wanted to get more people driving cars, so they'd buy more tires. But something unexpected happened. The guide became sacred. Chefs aspired to it. Critics feared it. And because Michelin was created in France, France's restaurants got a century-long head start. That matters. But there's something deeper. France didn't just have restaurants, it had a visionary. His name was Auguste Escoffier. In the late 1800s, Escoffier codified classical French cuisine, sauces, techniques, methods, a complete taxonomy of flavor. He created the blueprint that every fine dining kitchen worldwide still follows today. And in 2010, UNESCO recognized French gastronomy as intangible cultural heritage. Translation: the world agrees. France didn't invent food, but it perfected the language that all other chefs speak. So, what does this tell us? These 10 countries aren't where they are by accident. They're wealthy. They're innovative. They invest in culinary excellence like other nations invest in infrastructure. But there's a deeper lesson. Look at the pattern. Geography matters. Proximity to food sources, to trade routes, to other great culinary traditions. But ambition matters more. A nation with nothing but hunger can climb this list faster than a wealthy nation that's complacent. The best restaurants aren't relics of the past. They're laboratories of tomorrow. They attract world-class talent. They push boundaries. They fail, iterate, and return stronger. When you look at where the world's greatest food is being made, you're not just looking at a food ranking. You're looking at a map of human aspiration. And that's the top 10 countries with the most Michelin-starred restaurants. If you enjoyed this countdown, subscribe to RankLens for more.